I think he probably went maybe 1916, 17, 18, along in there.
So he came to Pontiac in this right around 1718. Grandpa
Yeah,
did.
yeah. He wasn't 21.
I always wondered how he got up to Pontiac from Mount Pulaski.
You never knew? You knew.
Well, I knew the story, but I don't think that was the.
That's true.
Tell,
He embezzled some money
he embezzled some money. He did.
from the railroad. Yeah, he was working at the depot, and he kept him. Well, he kept some money. He didn't turn in the money, and he. You know,
Well, you know, people do desperate things when they're
Well,
poor and hungry.
well, he was
Just a kid.
he was 17 or 18. He was out of high school. He graduated from high school.
Uh-huh. And he was working what for the railroad?
He was working in the depot, the office,
Mm-hmm.
the depot. He was selling tickets, and he kept the money. He said the one that he kept that was got him in trouble was somebody bought a trip to California, and he kept that money.
Oh. Because it was a lot of money.
He didn't say how much, but he said it was somebody, and it was more money than. I don't know what. He never said how much it was.
And then he got caught.
Oh yeah.
And then what?
And then the auditors from the railroad showed up. And so I said, "How'd they catch you?" And he said, "Well, yeah, one day the train pulled in, and the auditors from what's it runs over there, Illinois Central. That's who he was working for. He had a real good job. And the next week was the state fair, he told me. And he was supposed to go to the state fair and work. He had a really good job. He was so foolish.
People
And he knows it.
Yeah.
And
So he got caught.
he got caught.
They put him in cuffs and took him away, probably.
Yeah, and he ended up in Pontiac down there at the reformatory.
For how long, do you know?
8 months.
Oh, wow.
That's all.
So it was like a school.
Yeah, that's what it was. And there was a guy in Pontiac. He was a barber, and he'd been out there. There were several of them who were in Pontiac that had been out there and learned to trade. Yeah, there was one of the barbers in town, and he'd been out there.
So at the reformatory, they did, they put the kids to work.
Yeah, they all worked. It didn't bother us kids, but he came up to see me, several years before he died, and people always looked down on him because of that. He came, I told him, I said, well, it didn't make any difference to us kids. He said, I know that. And he said, didn't make any difference to your mother either. No, didn't make any difference to us kids. He was a good dad.
Well, when you're a kid, you're a kid.
He always said, you can't put an old head on a young shoulders. Yeah, my poor dad.
But he paid his price, and then he went on.
And then some.
Mm-hmm.
And then some.
So I thought there was something else that had happened.
Like what?
Well, I thought that you asked him when he was real sick if he did it, and he said he didn't.
He told me, he said, he thought it was a setup, is what he said. I thought it was a setup. But he did do it. He didn't have to tell me that. He didn't have to say he didn't do it. To make me feel better, it didn't matter. I don't, you don't hold things against your dad.
That's right. Or your mom.
Or you really don't. Or family's family.
Mm-hmm.
You take them.
Warts and all.
Yep, that's all right. Yeah. He worked mighty hard to take care of all of us.
And you did too, Mom. Worked your ass off.
That's why it's gone. No, he'd work all day at that shoe factory, and then he'd go out at night and bang on that bass fiddle. Come home after midnight always. Get up and had to be at work at 7. He did that for years. Had the big garden he planted.
Mm-hmm. He's a good gardener.
Worked in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want a